Welcome back to another episode of Amplify with Amanda Sapp, where we amplify the people and partnerships driving meaningful impact. Today's conversation is about connection, how alumni leadership and community engagement come together to support student success in real and lasting ways. I'm joined by two leaders who understand that when institutions, businesses, and community partners align with purpose, everyone benefits, especially students. Joining me today are Wayne Sallee and Juana Rodriguez, two professionals whose commitment to service extends far beyond their titles. Wayne is a senior technology and engineering leader at Hexagon ALI and an active UHCL alumni leader focused on strengthening alumni engagement, preserving traditions, and expanding scholarship opportunities. Juana Rodriguez is the HR director at The Rose and a human resources professional with over 25 years of experience. She is deeply committed to community service and volunteers with organizations including UHCL, Deer Park Police, Make-A-Wish, Bose Place, and UT's No One Dies Alone program. Together, they represent the power of alumni leadership and community partnership working hand in hand to uplift students and create opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today here on Amplify with Amanda Sapp. So glad to have you.
Yeah. Good morning, Amanda. Thank you very much. And definitely on behalf of Juana and myself, we're honored to be on your podcast, your stream, and we look forward to a wonderful conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, before we get started, I would love for each of you to give me 3 words that best describe UHCL. We'll start with you, Wayne.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. I would say for me, right, this is my personal experience and observation. I would say committed, committed student success. I know that's a hyphenated word, so that's what we'll go with that, Amanda. And transformative.
That's a good word. That's a good word.
I would say preparedness, supportive, and affordable.
I appreciate both of you for sharing that with us today. Now, I know that you're deeply involved in community and alumni work. Why is connections such an important part of student success, Wayne?
Well, I think it, like anything, I myself, Amanda, over time, have kind of become a bit of a builder. I've created these systems or ecosystems in place, and typically what I like to do is tap into those and find ways to give back. And what I've noticed with the university leadership over time, over years, has really been committed and focused on helping my own growth, my family's growth, the people around me that I support, and not just from a transactional perspective, right? We always think transaction based. What I've noticed is, through the curriculum, the guidance, faculty, leadership, I've been able to kind of, organically grow. And then once, I received an undergrad or a graduate level degree, one might think, hey, the university stops there. But, as you pointed out, what we're talking about here is commitment to service, mentorship, building pathways of success. And the university continues to do that. They continue to do that with me directly, by extension, my family, indirectly, people that we network and community partnerships. And I think that's important because that's kind of created those pillars of those foundations for me. And then giving back is what I value as far as student success, that continuous ecosystem that we're building.
And Juana, would you agree? Can you piggyback back off of what Wayne is sharing with us today?
Yeah, I don't tend to disagree with Wayne too often.
Okay.
But for me, it's a little bit different. As an immigrant and first generation going to the university has really, really been very supportive of me and very good to me. From the professors and the staff and the university's community overall. And I've always had a strong support from community-based organizations in getting me where I am today. And so it really is for me a very, very personal passion of mine to give back to the community and areas where I can, whether it is through donations or time, which, as we all know, is a very rare commodity here. And so for me, it's those are the things that really drive me and giving back to the community and university and the University of Houston, Clear Lake. Like I said earlier, it's been very supportive and is very affordable and really does set you up for continued success.
And Amanda, I'll just add to Juana's points. I mean, she is absolutely a proven and effective leader on demonstrating, giving her time, value, and energy into everything she does. As far as also our alumni board. So honored to work beside her.
Before we get into the golf tournament that you all have, if you could, each of you, tell us what was your emotion, your feeling like when you first got to University of Houston Clear Lake? That person that kind of drug you in and said, you know what, let me take you up under my arm, under my wing, and expand your experience here. Do any of you have a story like that you could share that could connect with our audience today?
Juana, you want to go first this time, and I'll follow, or?
Well, when I first got to the campus, I was very, very, very pleasantly surprised at how beautiful the campus was. First of all, and for me, especially starting off at a larger university, and again, as a first generation, really feeling lost through the system. So walking in through the doors and attending my first evening class. So I was not a traditional student once I hit University of Houston, Clear Lake. And so arriving in my first class, first of all, to see the ratio between the students and the professors was not overwhelming for me. And really having the professors actually know your name rather than just a student ID number or a row number was very impressive for me. And so that impression alone was like, oh my gosh, I think I finally found my home and this is where I'm going to be successful at. And sure enough, with the support of all the professors and again, the community, I was really, really able to excel and really found out a lot about scholarships and things like that at the university, which is something, again, that I was not very familiar with. So, yeah, that was my very first impression coming through.
I love that. I love that. And now, Wayne, for you, what can you share with us of someone who kind of just took you under their wings and said, you know what, we want to support you here and help you expand?
Yeah, absolutely. I can think of three unique individuals. One of which no tie-in with the university itself, but kind of more so the UH system. But my story kind of started, going to University of Texas San Antonio. Started originally there with my undergrad, finished up some items, and then came back home. And then I went back and kind of finished some items, some educational items at University of Houston on my undergrad. And in that process, I wouldn't say that I really felt too tethered to the university. To Juana's point, beautiful campus. I think people, that's one of the first things they recognize is, the deer, the natural landscape, was it Armand Bayou that runs through? I mean, it really is. It is a beautiful, beautiful campus to look at and take in, but also, the smaller classrooms weren't overwhelming, but, and then I took a break. I went into to industry, and then I realized that I needed to further my career. And I also wanted to start looking into pursuing a doctoral program or a PhD program. So I went back, got my master's degree. And it was at that time that I realized what I was missing, which was I felt like I wasn't necessarily getting the, the supplemental support that I was looking for. So at that time, I went through student orgs. I created a student org called TAP, which is the Torch of Academic Proliferation. And it was fundamentally built around, servant leadership, transformation, people helping me, and then ultimately doing good deeds and passing that torch, if you will. And there was definitely a professor that, helped me along in my graduate studies, kind of pushed me in the right direction, which opened up opportunity to, to communicate and engage with other graduate level professors. And that really helped seam in a lot of things. It made me realize, back to the whole transactional thing, that this wasn't transactional based, that there really is an investment into their students and what they're doing. And that completely, again, transformed how I thought. And it's one of the building blocks when I look at my children. I teach my young children at this point, and I have 3 young boys, which is, hey, don't be scared of reaching out to your educators. Ultimately you grow up and you go into university, your professors, because they really are invested in you. And then another young lady named Joyce Dolores Taylor, who sadly is no longer with the university, but did so much in the community, so much with students and kind of creating these footprints, right? These legacy footprints. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful young lady. And she helped mentor me. And then, like I said, another individual. So, but those 3 individuals absolutely were paramount or key to my investment in the university. And that's what I'm here for today.
I love that. I love that. I mean, it's stories like that help people make decisions quicker about, where they want to go and have an experience in education, So I appreciate both of you for sharing that with us. Now, let's get into this University of Houston Clear Lake Alumni Golf Tournament. What makes it different from a typical fundraising event?
Okay, Juana, I'll go first this time. How about that?
Okay.
This really started, I remember the day that kind of this idea, started moving into fruition, if you will. I was leaving the house, and at the time, my oldest was probably 4 or 5, and I was planning or prepping for a meeting at the university with its leadership. And he asked me where I was going, and I informed him, hey, I'm going to speak on behalf of said golf tournament. And, he asked me, well, why? And I said, well, I'd like to create, some sort of tradition or marquee event, for the association, for our university, for the community, to help students. And, and like anything, his immediate question was why, right? And at first I think I just told you, but it left me an opportunity to think about that, especially more over the years. So I went to the university, and like anything, it's one thing to have an idea. It's quite another to have that idea grow into something meaningful and impactful. And that has just been coupled through the strength and support of everybody else. But to answer your question, which is, it's all those principles that I talked about, right? The pillars of, building something from a tradition or legacy standpoint in our alumni association. It's another opportunity for us to enable or connect with our alumni base. It's an ability to have community partners help us grow, and in return, grow them, promote their product, promote their business. And then lastly, I mean, the most important thing here is, student success. We keep talking about student success, building those blocks for our students, creating scholarships so they can continue to thrive and proliferate in the region and in our area, et cetera, as they grow on. So, and ultimately they'll hopefully do something in turn and want to give back as well. So that's what it is. It's not just it's not just a do this and receive that. It really is a selfless act to grow something much bigger than oneself.
I love that. I love that. Now, Juana, this question is for you from a community's partners perspective. Why do events like this matter beyond the dollars raised?
Well, like Wayne was saying, really getting the word out about the university and what it is that we do for our students. And, like he really said, I really want to emphasize leaving that legacy of the university. Again, for the students and having all of this time on our part invested in these students so that, they can grow. And eventually they're the ones sitting here with you as the new leaders. And that's what the university builds. We build and we create leaders that's going to be able to take over, once we start winging off and, in that retirement phase. And that's exactly what they've done, and I hope that Wayne and I really do reflect the output of the university as far as what they actually create and build on. And so for us, it is more than just a golf tournament. It is more than just building scholarships. It's really looking into the future and how it is that we are going to build back and give into the university so that they can also continue having this output of the next leaders.
And speaking of that, Juana, leadership and service, the Alumni Association has gone through board reform over the last 2 years. What impact has that had on collaboration and momentum?
Okay, I'm sorry, Amanda, can you repeat that again?
What impact has that had on collaboration and momentum? The Alumni Association, the board, things like that.
Okay. I'm going to turn this over to Wayne here in a minute because he's actually been part of this board a lot longer than I have.
Okay.
He's really one of the OGs of it. I actually became a part of this about 2.5 years ago through Marilyn Sims. I was always running into her where I was volunteering with the university and other agencies and nonprofits outside of the UHCL. And one day she said, "Hey, I'd like to invite you to something." I was like, "Sure, I'll come." It's like, if you know Marilyn Sims, it's not easy to tell her no. As much as she has given to everything that you can possibly think of. She's one of the best people I know. And so, yes, I was like, sure, I'll come. And really got to see the board from both perspective, both from, only being, part of the volunteer group and helping out where I can, to now being partnered up with, people like Wayne and, serving on these committees that is benefiting the students and the university and individuals and, being able to partner and help people promote their businesses as well. It is something that is local, and so for us to really be able to reach out to, the 80,000 plus alumni now and trying to reach them. And, here in the Houston area, especially with NASA around, I was very surprised at how much alumni are actually still here in the Houston and surrounding areas. So for me, that's really been that part. But I do want to turn this over to Wayne because, like I said, he's one of the original board members, and really being able to have this board of directors grow, especially with our new Kendra. She's the director of Alumni Association. She's been with us about 3 years, 2.5 years, 3 years now, and how she's really been able to structure the board so that we really can focus on the bigger things. It's really amazing. So, Wayne, I'll turn this over to you, sir.
Oh my goodness. Juana, I don't think I can, state anything better than that. That was pretty darn good. So, yeah, no, kind of a selfish plug, I guess, as far as, my experience with the board. But I started with the board, I believe, probably we'll say 2017, 2018. And, to be honest with you, Amanda, my thought process was, hey, I want to get in, I want to listen, I want to absorb as much as I possibly can and slowly start making an impact, wherever I'm needed. And interestingly enough, after, we'll call it the first year, I think it was like 6 months, and it was time for, officer nominations. And to Juana's point, Marilyn had offered nominated, one of our current board members and a really good friend of ours, both Chris Wagner, and then a gentleman named Mike Reeves, who was the chair at the time, threw my name in the hat and completely surprised me. To be honest with you, I was not expecting that, and I think he being Chris and myself were both taken back and like, well, this isn't really kind of what we were expecting. And by and large, we both took it upon ourselves to team up and go into it as a chair and a vice chair position, and we did that. And then we had some leadership transition at the university, kind of take root. By and large, COVID hit, and so there were all these dynamic and compounding changes, if you will, and it ended up leading to me serving as the chair for 3 consecutive years, which Amanda, Juana knows this, and the board I'm extremely proud of. But like anything, there has to be change, right? There has to be an evolution as we continue to grow. So we get fresh ideas, new perspectives, allow others to continually lead. And as Juana pointed out, through university advancement, Kendra Hackinson, we just had all these new ideas, these new visions kind of come into place, and we started building off of those. And it's just, we're now on our second year for the Reformation, and the board that we have is very comprehensive, very complete. It covers a lot of ground in business, industry, and education, and we couldn't be any more tickled where we're at today through continued leadership like Juana, others, and herself.
Thank you, Wayne. I appreciate that. Now, just staying on leadership for just a second here, how do volunteers and sponsors collectively shape student outcomes?
Yeah, I'll take that one. Well, I think like anything, once you start to volunteer, you become a part of something bigger, right? And maybe that's not your original intent. To Juana's point, she talked about just giving time, having an opportunity to give back, and we have some volunteers that are younger, right, and just want to understand what things are about. We have other volunteers that are nearing retirement, already retired, and just want to continue to give back. And I think as you do that, you start to, again, through osmosis, organically create these connectors, building these relationships. Whether starting out, it's just with one another, volunteers, alumni members, building the alumni base, students, creating opportunities to just kind of vocally or verbally mentor students, point them in the right direction. For community partners and businesses, I think it amplifies that, right? Because hopefully they get to see their dollars turn into opportunities for our students. Like I said, scholarship wise, putting value into the community, and then in return, hopefully they get to see, those community members, volunteer students, start pouring back into their business, and it's become cyclic, but in a very progressive manner. So that's where I think that at times we just try to develop things naturally, and then we look back and we say, oh my goodness, look at what we've created together. And I feel like that's how volunteers and community partners can continue to support that build.
Wayne, I'm sorry, Amanda.
Go ahead.
It's like you would have thought that we rehearse this, but to tell off of what he just said, prime examples, because I'm in human resource, and so working with a nonprofit, I don't have much of a budget, but what he was talking about, and having those connections through my other areas of volunteering, like Bo's Place, which is a nonprofit organization. They don't charge anyone for grief counseling. And then also volunteering with UT's NODA, No One Dies Alone. It took me a minute to make that connection, like, well, wait a minute, am I not introducing, my partners and my connections with them, because these are two agencies that can work very well together. And so for me, being able to really network and taking these resources and being able to provide other businesses with those, that's going to help them also give back to the people that they service, as well. So, yeah, to Wayne's point, at least for me, it really has really given me that opportunity to make that connection with businesses, whether they're nonprofits or for profits. Again, and servicing the local communities in the areas of needs that they may have.
Mhm. Now, we are wanting students, well, I would like students to know, I want you to share with the students who may listen to this broadcast and let them know how they could feel knowing that so many people are invested in their success. How do you want them to feel?
I want them to feel that they are worth it.
Mhm.
Yep.
They are absolutely worth all of the time and energy that, people like Wayne has built and invested in organizations such as the board, so that we can give them the hand and the step up that they need in order to accomplish what they want to accomplish professionally or personally.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, Juan, I can't beat that. I can only add to that value, right, and probably provide some examples of where we're attempting to do that, right. So, Amanda, we obviously, as part of the board reformation, we've been able to create all these different various board committees, dedicated to certain things, and one of them, our largest board by and large, is called student engagement. And so, we talk about, I mean, I got a whole list of, things that we call the Hawk Pantry and giving back, helping our students, a ring ceremony to help create traditions for our students, commencement. I mean, the board volunteers, they love to be at commencement ceremonies or, kind of, any type of cohort where, doctor robing, things of that nature, because it gives us an ability to show our presence in support of everything they're doing. We just launched, and I'm very proud of this. I know Juana is, as well as everybody, at the university, our second mentorship program, our Hawk mentorship. Last year we piloted, Amanda, a program that paired mentees with mentors, right? Students, mentees. And I think we had 20 pairings, if you will. Well, it was such a success that this year we launched our second, and this is a full, academic year. We went from 21 to 61 pairs of mentees to mentors. And these mentors could be established or distinguished alumni in New York or out on the West Coast. So it's not here local, regionally. We're really building that alumni base. But those types of things, those commitments, the golf tournament that's focused primarily around student success, to Juana's point, we want them to understand that, we're here for them, right? To feel valued, because, our value is in them and our belief is in their success.
Now, lady and gentlemen, as we wrap up this interview, I'd love for you to share with the audience here, what is one way that they can get involved? More specifically, you've got this golf tournament coming up. You just mentioned it. What's one way that they can still get involved? Is there time?
Juana, I got websites and I got links, but you go ahead first.
Well, just coming out and, with the golf tournament and just focusing on coming out and having fun, whether you're a beginner or whether you're a professional. I mean, just come out and have a good time, network, and just overall just enjoy yourself. Not really anything that's really worrisome, as far as, especially the new beginners. I mean, I hadn't played in I don't know how long and went out, and it's like, yeah, I knew I wasn't going to win the tournament, but I still went out and had a good time. Brought along some ladies for my team. Whether you want to come out as an individual, we'll pair you up with anybody else and get your team built for you if need be. So on that, I'm going to turn this over to Wayne and let him get on the technical side.
Yeah, Juana was smoking cigars and drinking whiskey with the best of them. So there you go. No, just kidding. Yeah, absolutely. And just quickly giving some updates on when the tournament is. We're looking at June 1st at Bay Oaks Country Club. It'll be a 9 a.m. Monday morning shotgun start. To Juana's point, it's a 4-person scramble, best ball format. So, I mean, you could be an extremely talented player. You could be your first time. You're bringing a set of clubs, and it's just about going out, having a good time. And like I said, most importantly, supporting the alumni, the community, and students. Last year, I believe we had 9 or 10 whole sponsors, and this year, honestly, Amanda, we're looking at including about three to four more. We'd love to have whole sponsorship presence. Typically you try to get games included on the tee box to keep the game going inside the game itself, type deal, as well as these businesses promoting what they do and how they do it well. So still working on some final details. We'll be looking to work with university marketing and communications to distribute that out. But definitely the 2 websites you can go to actively look, support, participate, or be a sponsor is https://www.uhcl.edu/alumni/events. And then from there, you can navigate to the golf tournament. But it'll also give you all the wonderful things the alumni board and the alumni base is doing by and large to support student success and our community.
Really appreciate both of you for being my guest here today on Amplify with Amanda Sapp. I want to make sure I got that website correct. www.uhcl.edu/alumni/events is where anyone who is interested in being a part of the event through volunteering, through sponsorship, they can go to that website.
One minor correction, Amanda. Between UHCL and EDU, there's a dot, not a // there, but everything else was perfect. Great job.
Okay, UHCL /edu.
Yep. Awesome.
Appreciate you so much here, guys. And I thank you again for being my guest here today. Is there any other last minute words that you'd like to share before we leave this broadcast today?
In ways of giving, nothing can ever be too small or too large. So whether you are looking to spend an hour in giving back, or whether you're looking at spending, 52 hours a year, we are always looking for volunteers because we can always find a spot for you with any student engagement situation, or especially the muscles. We definitely need a lot of muscles with a lot of lifting sometimes.
Absolutely. And I would say, this tournament, honestly, Amanda, it's truly about more than golf. It really is about strengthening our alumni traditions, building those community partnerships and really creating real scholarship opportunities for UHCL students. So, we're definitely grateful returning sponsors, and we welcome any new ones who believe in education and impact. And thank you very much for having us this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for being a part of Amplify with Amanda Sapp. Until next time, peace and blessings.